So when you log in, you might see a little bit different of a screen. Some of this stuff might not be here depending on what your rights are, if you're a coach or an athletic director. Regardless, adding a section is the same. So sections are a way to organize your website, very similar to kind of think of them as folders. A lot of people organize, a lot of coaches organize their site maybe based on grade or varsity, junior varsity, freshman. So the kind of teams within the team, and that's how most people use it. So to get started, just go ahead and click on sections. And as you can see here on this demo site, we have no section, so I'm just going to click create your first section. I'm going to name it, in this case, I'm going to call it varsity. What pages do I want to be in this section? So do I want news that's specific to varsity? Do I want a roster that's specific to varsity, schedule for varsity, and so on? So I can check these off. If they're checked on, then they're going to be pages that are available to you. If you uncheck them, you might say, hey, I don't want to use the calendar feature. I'm just going to uncheck it and then I won't have it. Or I'm not going to show coaches for just varsity. I'm going to make a coaches section. So you would uncheck that as well. So I'll leave those unchecked. Hide this section. This is simply if your site's already live and people are going to it and you're building on a new section, you might not want people to go to it until it's fully ready. So you would check hide this section and then it wouldn't show up in your website's navigation. So I'm going to leave that unchecked because I want this to show up for this example. And then finally, this feature, this section, if your website's hooked up to an athletic department, and you have this checked, any news articles that you publish from this section would then show up on your athletic department's news feed, and you could be shown on their homepage. So I'll leave that checked by default. So just click create section, and there it is. It shows me that I have a roster, news, media, schedule, and so forth. So I can display, I can turn it on or off, and we can go and check it out. So I click visit site, and you can see right here, again, this is all just an example testing website that we use, but I have my first section, it's called varsity, and now I can go add news, roster, schedule, and so forth. Going back, I want to show you one other thing. I'm going to create another section. I'm just going to call this junior varsity. I'm going to leave everything and I'm going to create this section. I just want to show you something real quick. So I put in junior varsity, it shows up first, and then varsity shows up second. And everyone always wants to rearrange this and say, how do I get varsity to show up over here? It's real simple. All I'm going to do is be in my sections category, and I get this little cross kind of icon that shows up. I'm going to click and drag varsity up, and so now varsity is at the top of the list. If I click visit site, you'll see that varsity is now the first section of my website, and that's it.